they are always open and honest with themselves and others to always grow. The lifelong learning that I talk about, and the courage that it takes to learn from others and grow as a human being. I think that is so powerful.
I feel very personally attached to helping business owners make sure that cash isn't killing them.
And I think one common thing that I have heard from that journey is that growth mindset, that learning from others, right? So being open, vulnerable, to really have a perspective that we can always learn more. We can always grow more.
Cash is the number one killer of small business, SMBs in general, right? So MSPs are not immune to this, right? So, we have a really simple mission: make cash collection as effortless as possible for MSPs and the SMBs that they serve.
Hi, Adam. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Sunny. Thanks for having me.
I truly appreciate your collaboration. Work that you guys are doing in the channel. That's there, but the way you collaborate with with your partners and your strategic partners like us, the mindset that I talk about, right? So doing business with people is a lot more pleasant and a lot more impactful when you do it with right mindset people. And
absolutely,
you are in my top of the right mindset, professional, leader, and a partner.
Appreciate that. It's good to work with you guys.
So I want to take your kind of leadership experience to our community here, and let's start with your journey. Tell us a little bit about your leadership journey so far, and what are the top 2 to 3 things that we can learn from your journey?
Oh, wow. That's that's a good question. This is my third company that I've started. The first 2 were not in tech. I took a short break from tech, and I spent about 8 years in craft beer, and built a couple of breweries. It's very different, but still working with great folks and trying to do something fun and impactful for the community. Before that, it was, leadership positions and consulting firms and whatnot. And I take a very, you got to be able to connect with folks at a personal level, and in order to have good results, I think, there's definitely different types of leaders out there. I don't throw chairs about the Steve Jobs type, but I do expect a lot, but I also am there for my folks when they need it. So I think it's really important to have that kind of vulnerable relationship as a leader, and every once in a while, you gotta be vulnerable with them sometimes, so they know you're human, and that you get it, you have feelings and all that kind of stuff, and it's got to be real. So I think that's probably the biggest thing. And then I'm always trying to learn from other folks, right? I'm just a guy here trying to run a software company. So I don't know everything, and I by far, and just always trying to learn. So I think one of the things I actually got from Build It, actually, was I can't remember the fellow who was speaking about it. He was talking about tools, templates, the 3 T's, tools, templates, and training. And if my folks are watching this, I picked that up, and they hear it a lot these days because it just makes so much sense. And so, just always be learning from folks. Even the smallest things can have a huge impact on your ability to motivate and get your team moving forward. So.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I think one common thing that I have heard from that journey is that growth mindset, that learning
Absolutely.
from others, right? So being open, vulnerable, to really have a perspective that we can always learn more, we can always grow more. And there's just so much value in learning from other people. So I think that's a really, really great lesson. And thank you for sharing that. And that's like one thing that I see that people where they're sustainable, they are able to sustain their success and they are continuously growing throughout their lifetime, no matter
Hmm.
what journey that they're on. That this is the foundation, that they work hard, they don't take anything for granted, they pay their dues, and they are always open and honest with themselves and others to always grow. The lifelong learning that I talk about, and the courage that it takes to learn from others and grow as a human being. I think that is so powerful. And now, so now let's get into a little bit of culture first.
Sure.
Uh, how do you create that culture? What we just talked about, that other people are also in on that journey of learning and
Hmm.
growing. And so at Benji Pay, how do you, like, what that culture looks like? If you have to describe that culture, maybe in 2 to 3 words, what words come to your mind, and how you make sure that those words are lived every day?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll prefix this by like we're like a lean, young startup. Everyone's doing a lot. We run pretty hot these days, right? Like sometimes when you're in a fast growing company, you're just in time hiring, right? So the team's working very hard, and I think like we've got a small list of values. Like one of them is just get stuff done, right? GSD, and that requires, like, if you're gonna ask for that of your folks and you want that to be part of your culture, you gotta be in the trenches with them, right? And they need to see you right next to them doing the same things. Like I'm a big believer, you don't ask anyone to do something that you wouldn't do yourself, right? So pretty much anything that people have to do in the company, I will have done or attempted to do at some level that they probably will exceed me, hopefully. But it's really important, I think, for them to see you next to them, fighting it out with them side by side. And then it's just like sometimes, as everyone's got blind spots, right? You've got blind spots, I got blind spots. We all have blind spots, and they're only blind spots until you see them, right? And so, from a learning standpoint, sometimes it's helpful for us to like point those out to folks, and then suggest ways that they could go learn about that or from other people, right? Because they may not even know that they've got a gap in knowledge, or they might be really good at something maybe they don't feel they're good at that, or you see some potential in them. And so like helping them like find those folks they can learn from, encouraging them to go do that is really important.
That's so awesome. And I think when you have that that type of culture where get stuff done, and do it in a very collaborative teamwork type of environment, that's like really, really key to success. Like building a healthy culture and high performing culture, that's what it takes, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah, thank you for sharing that. Now let's talk about the value creation, the Benji Pay, when it comes to your kind of product market fit. I know you do a lot of work with the MSP partners. So can you talk to us about uh, your your value creation in the channel, and how do you help entrepreneurs?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, as most folks know, cash is the number one killer of small business, SMBs in general, right? So MSPs are not immune to this, right? So, we have a really simple mission: make cash collection as effortless as possible for MSPs and the SMBs that they serve. And this is like near and dear to my heart. Like I've been, as a business owner, in the past, I mentioned, like we've got SMB DNA in the company, and MSP DNA. Like I started my career in that space. My business partner Avery also started his career in that space. We've lived through these challenges, right? And so this isn't us just hypothesizing that we can maybe create a business to make some money and help with this thing. It's like I feel very personally attached to helping business owners make sure that cash isn't killing them, and collecting it isn't killing them slowly as well. And I mean that from like just a time standpoint, because I've seen it. Like we've all seen it probably. If you have friends and family that own businesses, like for sure we know somebody where this was a problem. And helping people understand that their P&L, and that, yes, you can have revenue. Yes, you can be profitable even, but that doesn't mean there's money in the bank. And that's a big problem. And helping people have the courage to say, like, you know what, we deserve to get paid. We're doing amazing work for our clients, and it's okay to say, this is how, this is the value we provide, and this is how we are compensated. You're going to pay us in advance, or we're automatically going to debit, or whatever it is, to ensure that your company is healthy, right? And ensure that the money's in the bank to do a lot of things. You got to pay your people. You got to pay your bills. Like, if you've got money sitting with your clients for 60, 90 days, you're now a bank, right? And I'm pretty sure none of us set out to be a bank, especially one that doesn't charge interest. So, the cash, there's a good anecdote here. Like, we had a new partner start with us a few months ago, and they're a decent sized MSP doing a great business, and they never really worried about cash, but they didn't have any automation around it. And by automating it, with in this case they use Benji Pays, but there's they have options, right? By automating it, they actually sent us an email, and they're like, we never worried about this before. What's amazing now is that we didn't realize we had a problem. And now that Benji Pays is automating all this, we have money in the bank, and we've gone from being everything's fine to, wow, like, we could invest, like, because they're doing a good business. So they went from like, fine to lots of money in the bank. They're like, we could buy a building, we could go into new markets, we could grow the team. Like, this is things that weren't on the table before. So when we talk about cash flow and its importance, it's not just from like making sure you keep the lights on. And sometimes early days in the business, or certain times, that's going to be the case, especially when you're going through growth periods where you're hiring ahead of revenue. But it can also mean, like, what are the opportunities, right, that we're missing out on because we're not paying attention to this thing. And it's just so key and so core to the health of a business. And the thing is, it's also one of the easiest things to automate and put on like autopilot. And you just, just automate that happy path around it, and focus on the few things that go wrong, and have your people, who I'm sure are much more competent and smarter than required to just like press buttons to process payments, go do really high value things for them and for you and your customers. So that's kind of what we're trying to do here. It's the simplest thing is automate cash flow, but it should have a massive impact on everyone when it's done right.
Automating cash flow is really, really important. And I think that's the bottom line. And we were talking about this when we were about to start the podcast, that, one thing that someone said, and that kind of stayed with me from like over a decade ago, when I was losing my hair because of the cash flow issues. And yeah. I was waking up as more like in the entrepreneurial poverty, because my cash flow was tight, and every morning felt like so much pressure, a lot of pressure points, where you need to deliver services, and you also need to grow your capabilities. And the cash really was a big challenge. And someone said, okay, out of the growth and the profitability and the cash flow, this is how you want to think about it. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash flow is reality. And if you want to wake up as a healthy, wealthy entrepreneur rather than a poor entrepreneur, you got to improve your cash flow. Start with your reality. Change your reality where you have proper cash flow mechanism, because then growth matters, profit matters. because you are in your creativity zone. Because a lot of time when people have that overall cash flow is tight, and the first thing that it kills is overall the stress that it takes on you and your team, from collections team to everyone else team, is basically the creativity, the creative teamwork. You're not going to wake up in that stressful environment to be creative and create value for people. You're going to be stressed out about your cash and how you're going to pay your next, how you're going to run your next payroll. And another piece that I think of when I think about this, Adam, is slowly, because MSPs like myself, I was a tech. I didn't wake up one day and I'm like, I didn't go to any MBA school or anything. That okay, I learned all the best practices as a business owner. I learned on the go, and I was like, fixing Exchange 5.5 server, or the biggest Sonic Wall issue was my biggest skill, and that's what I'm selling and making money, and that's business. But that's not business, right? So there are three ways to make money in life. One, your unique skills, your superpower based skills. You basically sell that. So when I started as an entrepreneur, just like many other MSP friends who are listening to this, they had some kind of technical skill and they started charging small businesses some dollar amount for the hours that their skill was used for. And that's how they made money. And then they hired their next tech, 2 techs, 3 techs. I did that as well. So I bought other technical people's skills and did my packaging of the hour, and then I started selling that to SMBs. And that's how I started billing them. If that hour was costing me maybe $20, and let's say I billed it at $100 or $50 skill cost, billed at $150, that delta is how you create business. Or third thing, where you don't need to sell your skills based on the time, because that's limited. Buying back time is hard. Or you are selling time of other technical people's skills. Money can make you money, right? So either your skills make you money, or other people's skills make you money, or money makes you money. The beauty of money making you money is when you're sleeping, you can make money. And
Yes.
that's like basically passive income. And one of my friend, Adam, I was driving New York City yellow cab when I came here in 1993. And he was driving, he started with taxi, but then he graduated to like a truck driver. And then he started his trucking company and made like his business, like $30 million business. But then he took some $2 million out of his trucking business, and he put that $2 million money into work, to work, by creating or starting a factoring company. So I don't know if you're familiar with the factoring business. It's basically, so he started lending money to other transportation companies, trucking companies in his circle. And he said, okay, I'm going to buy your invoices, if it's 30 days, 60 days. So he started charging some interest. And then he kind of became their bank, that, okay, I'm going to collect it from your supplier, but here's your T check. You take care of this. And now that business alone, he just put one person with a $2 million out of his accounting team. He's like, okay, you manage this $2 million. Now that in just 5 years or so, that's when he did it. And now I think it's over $10 million business. And he don't have too many people working in that, just 1 or 2 people are managing that. It's like a $10 million business. I'm like, that's smart business. How many MSPs are 10 million? And they bring that 10 million only with like 2 people. And his obviously, that profitability and everything is great. But the point that I'm making is to support your statement there that says, okay, if you are not having proper cash flow practice, you are becoming the bank.
Yes. Yep.
Right? Then your money is not making you money. And you are not being very smart about being an entrepreneur, where you are not living entrepreneurial poverty life.
Yeah.
And Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great story. And like, it's funny. I was just having a conversation the other day about someone asked me if you ever thought about factoring? I was like, oh yes, I've thought about factoring. It's a very, that's a risky business that can have a high payout, right? So, and even especially these days, like I'd be so, it must be fascinating to ask me about this, but I'm assuming like AI and all the tools around it to like again further automate what he's doing is probably why there's not a lot of folks that need to work for him there. Super interesting. Yeah, but at least he set out to be a bank, right? Like he's like, I'm going to charge interest, right? Like he's providing value to his customers, and then he's charging interest as needed. And so he's set out that way. Problem is, like, just like a lot of us, like I when I was 30 years ago when I started being in the MSP space, like it was accidental, right? Like I was just the guy that was good at computers. I think you probably relate to that, and a lot of the folks listening and watching relate to that. And so we become these accidental entrepreneurs, which is kind of what you were saying, right? And then you learn, and some of us figure it out early. We go through hard lessons, but at least we accidentally become a bank. At least he set out to become a bank. It's a very big difference. So
Yeah, no, 100%. And another common conversation, and I think that factoring type of business, just to close on that, is like what my friend did is that he, like, just let's say that someone is part of any peer group like Build It or Evolve or True Methods, where normally they meet on a quarterly basis, right? 2 days. It's like you're part of a very tight community where people trust each other. And also, there's a lot of reputation damage if you don't pay your bill. And so this guy did it that way, that okay, a niche, a community, that okay, I'm not going to lend it to everyone. I'm just going to lend it to people where if they don't pay, they will be kicked out of this community. And basically the overall that their reputation will be known. So I think his overall anything bad debt type of situation or people not paying their bills is like extremely low and really healthy business. One another piece that people talk about in these peer groups is that, hey, I am just people first company, I'm culture, and which is awesome. Like we are people first, we are culture first. We are culture by design. And I don't think there is any conflict. And those individuals sometimes where they're like, there's probably conflict between culture and cash. And I talk to them, there is no conflict, man. Because if you are not cash healthy team, a company, you're not building a secure future for your team members. So it is in their best interest that you as a leader build a cash-rich company that their future is stable, is secure. They don't need to worry about, not getting paid or get another job or not getting the promotion and the raise that they're going to get. More cash you have, your team feels more secure. They will stay with you. They find a stable structure. And that's where your employee retention is high. People are investing their time more in creativity zone to create value for the customers rather than staying in more of the dysfunctional company where cash is always a problem or the profitability is always a problem, that you don't have money to share even if you are a go-giver and sharing caring mindset person. You can't give what you don't have. If you don't have $10 in your pocket, no matter how motivated you are to donate $10, you're not going to be able to donate $10. So there is no conflict between culture and cash. And the way I put together things in my mental frame is capability first. Sunny, you got to be ambitious about capability first, not ambitious about cash, but ambitious about capability. Because if I'm ambitious about growing my capability, to your point, if I'm continuously learning, growing, I'm growing my capabilities, I'm creating more value, and that value creates more cash.
mm-hmm.
And with the capability and cash, I'm able to be a better leader and build the right team around me and give them the right environment, which is the vibe, the feel, which is culture. So you, no matter, like, it's not in like a 1, 2, 3. It's more of, they are like more of 3 pillars of a company where culture, capability, and cash need to coexist. And this message or sharing is for, because I do have a lot of conversations in the channel. It's like, man, I'm kind of not that strong with cash flow because I take care of this. I want to keep culture first. We spend a lot of money here. And I'm like, yes, that's really good intent, and you should continue to do that. But at the same time, people that are betting on you and you as a leader, your business, they also want you as a leader to create a bigger future for them. You will not be able to create a bigger future for them if you're not responsible, you're not taking responsibility to create a cash healthy company. So last question I have is that where people can find you, and what are the 2 to 3 things that entrepreneurs listening to this can do to take their cash maturity level from whatever level that they are at to a higher level?
Yeah. Okay. So easily, I'm at adam@benjypays.com. See if people can find me there. That's a really good question. I just want to, so that part about like culture and cash not being in conflict, I think is actually that's a really, really good point. But it's important to think about, like, as leaders, like going back to like leadership and people learning from you and you learning from others, within your organization. Like you guys have a pretty large organization. There's gonna be folks in there that have aspiration to grow their own thing. Like I always like, people are with us for time, not forever, right? And so we want to help them get where they want to go. And sometimes that is they want to do their own thing. And so how do we help them do that? And one of the things is helping our team understand the financials of a healthy business, right? It's one thing to say we need cash and that's why we're doing this and that. It's another thing to say this is how a business works. This is how the financials work. And this is why we're doing what we're doing. And this is how it affects you positively or negatively when things are going well, right? And so just as important as it is for us to like help other entrepreneurs understand why cash is important and how to be more fiscally healthy in their business, it's really important for those folks to then turn around and help their team understand that. Because if they understand it and they know that it's not always good, like sometimes things are bad, when you have to have those conversations or when times are tough, especially, in those growth periods, it's a lot easier, and you're going to get the team surrounding surrounding you, and everyone's going to help, right? But we do this sometimes as entrepreneurs because we're very, there's a million things going on and you've worked 70 hours that week. If we're just like, we just have to do this because it's important, that's not going to work. That's where you get the folks who are like, that get that mindset of like us versus them, as far as entrepreneurs versus the team, right? Like we've all heard folks talk about, like, they figure the boss is wealthy and they're just being greedy and they want more. And it's really important to, open that up. You got to like share information with the team so they understand like what the reality is, right? Anyways, that's one thing I believe. So I think that answers your second question as well. That's something that people can do. But I would say like the other thing is just like sit down and like take the time to work on this. Like, even if you think things are good, like really sit down, spend a half a day, look at your processes, anything you can do to tighten up and shorten that day sales outstanding, your DSO. If you've never heard of that, just Google that. It's basically the time it takes to turn an invoice into cash in your bank account. You want that to be as low as possible. So if you do your DSO calculation and you're in the 60s, you have a problem. And you should work on it. Even if you're in the 30s, you could get it better. The MSPs we work with are often, in the single digit DSO, and that just changes their business, changes their lives, and really important to take a look at that.
No, 100%. And a lot of MSPs, they are very intentional nowadays. That's one thing that PE companies did is, Even privately held MSPs are a lot more intentional and aware of EBITDA and the 20% being their best in class number or 20% plus. But just look at that number, right? Like when you create 20% EBITDA, that's your return. That's how like one way to look at this. And then if you're not collecting your money fast enough, that 20% is not 20% because your total money equation changes because a lot of your money is out, and that money could have helped you from the ROI perspective. That if you look at the annual interest based, what the earning is, that your earning can go up just by being more efficient with your cash flow process, to your point. So that's the way, like one way to do things better, faster, and smarter. Just that thinking. It just takes that pause and think, and being intentional about having that weekly, monthly audit to make sure that you're staying on top of it. And this is we do this, Adam, with so much passion, right? So entrepreneurs like you or me, where we have that mindset to give to this channel, we see that how many entrepreneurs are out there that they started their businesses, right? Accidental entrepreneurs that you call it, and then sacrificing time, their health, their time away from their families to be an entrepreneur, waking up unemployed every day. There's no paycheck coming for an entrepreneur, but you take a lot of risk with your money, your family money. You put your money on the line. You put your family's time that you take away from your wife, your kids, and everyone around you. You take that time and you put it into the business more because, again, unemployed people waking up as entrepreneurs, they have to work harder. There's no paycheck coming for you and your family. So all the sacrifices. And then if you're not creating wealth, you're not creating cash, then I don't think that's a very wise way of living your life. And if you want to live life by design as an entrepreneur, the first thing is really, purpose 100%. Live your purpose, live with values, but also a person of values who create values for people around them. And that means your family, your team, and everyone. They rely on you as a leader to where they, their future is bigger. You are plus in their life, and it starts with that one responsibility to be very cash smart entrepreneur. And that's where you come in to help them, support them to be that cash smart person, that leader. And I think your capability is supporting them to be better cash confident entrepreneurs. And that's a good one. So your capabilities make them more cash confident entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And with that confidence, they get more courage to grow their capabilities. And that cycle can really help them with growth, right? So you have your Benji Pay capability, cash capability that makes them more cash confident. Their cash confidence give them more courage to build more capabilities. And it's like the flywheel.
Yes.
For the entrepreneur.
Yes.
And that is so kind of high impact work. So thank you for coming to my Sunny's Silver Linings and sharing your silver linings.
Yes. Thanks, Sunny. It was great to be here. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching Sunny's Silver Linings. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.